Holy Malinaji, Tommy Rainone. This is Tommy and Paulie's big fight forecast, guys. We got a busy week this week. You talk about gambling odds and gambling sites, gambling options on some really big boxing. This is the place to be here when you want to listen to those kind of discussions. Remember that everything we discuss here at Tommy and Paulie's Big Fight Forecast is for entertainment purposes. None of what we talk about is gambling or investing advice. But we are sure excited to discuss all of this stuff this week. Tommy, what's going on, buddy?
A lot of fights. We're doing two shows this week. We're going to do one today and one for tomorrow because, there's three big cards on Saturday.
So, yeah, three big cards on Saturday. And let's jump into it because we got to, like I said, like you said, we got to do two shows this week. So there's a bunch of fights we're going to be covering on this one and on the other one. So we're going to discuss four fights today. Today we're going to discuss Austin Williams versus Etinosa Oliha, which is a guy that I've seen in Italy. I've spoken to his team and his manager, a pretty good fighter. Diego Pacheco against Trevor McCumby, obviously a guy I've seen on Pro Box TV. Jesse Rodriguez, obviously Bam, against Kafu, who's supposed to be a tougher than advertised opponent, and of course Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. We know there are other fights this week. We will do that show next. You'll have that show coming out tomorrow. So because we can't fit all the gambling discussions for all these fights in one show. Otherwise, we'll have a long show. And we know how people are, guys. Short attention spans. We don't want you guys to sit through a 2-hour show. So we're gonna go off these fights first. Talk about Williams and Etinosa Oliha. Tommy, interesting fight. Middleweight. Is that middleweight? Is Oliha still middleweight, or is there super middleweight now?
I believe it was middleweight, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, because Oliha was a middleweight when I spoke to this team about a year ago. They were looking for some opportunities. They had been fighting in Germany and Italy, which of course
He's never fought in the States. This is his first fight in the States.
Yeah, they'd been looking for an opportunity in the States, so it looks like they got it.
Yeah, so his entire career was fought in Italy, and then his last several fights, maybe 4 or 5 fights, were in Germany. Mm-hmm. So as a
matter of fact, they had told me they had just signed with a German promoter, and they were going to go in that direction, which, okay, interesting enough. That's exactly what happened, and here he is in the States.
Yeah, now Austin Williams was a huge prospect, still is a prospect, of course. And then he got upset by Shiraz, who just pulled off another upset on Saturday with Belanga. Mm-hmm. Which I called, by the way, no big deal, but I called that.
No, we don't want to toot our own horns, but Tommy was talking about Shiraz very early, even when he was the underdog. By the time we got to the bell, Shiraz wound up being the favorite, as many people must have listened to you, Tommy. Amazing people must have understood, and he was the favorite going in, and obviously he came through with flying colors.
Yeah, he started off as a plus 130, and he ended up as about a minus 110. Wild.
Yeah, I actually saw him as high as minus 155.
That's wild.
Yeah. So go ahead. But, so what do you think about Austin Williams now and Oliha in this fight?
His big win prior to that was the upset over Austin Williams. So Williams is still kind of recovering from that loss. I believe this is only his second fight back since that defeat.
Oliha's undefeated, correct?
What's that?
Is Oliha undefeated?
Yeah, he's 21-0 with 9 knockouts. So good fighter. A lot of aggression, a lot of energy. He has a slickness to him. So I think this is going to be a chess match to a degree. Both guys are slick. Both guys are athletic. Both guys commit. This is a tricky one. This is no walk in the park for Williams, who of course is the favorite, but he's not a huge favorite. The line is pretty tight. Again, first time he's fighting in America. I think that first time fighting on American soil is a big deal. I mean, 21 pro fights, all in Italy and Germany. And now you come to the States, it's a whole different ballgame. First big fight, the zone, opening up the show. Again, this is going to be a chess battle. This is going to be a chess match. I think that.
Does it matter to you that Williams has stepped up? Because obviously he has a fight against Shiraz, even though he came up short. That is a step up fight. Oliha has not quite stepped up to this level yet. Does that come into play at all here?
I don't know, Paulie, because both guys have fought a similar level of opposition. So they've beaten the guys they were supposed to beat. And Shiraz is the one big name between them on the resume. And obviously Williams got stopped by him, came up short. So I think from a talent pool perspective, I think both guys are on a similar playing field as far as the opposition they've beaten. And again, there isn't a lot of separation between these two from a stylistic standpoint because both guys are slick, both guys are athletic, both guys are hungry. I'm
gonna go out on a limb, Tommy. The way I'm reading you here, I think this fight has distance written all over it.
You read my mind, pal.
Well, guys, we want to let you guys know at home, and guys, we appreciate all you guys watching the show. I obviously know Tommy a lot of years, and that's why we're doing this show. And you know, he's got a very specific standard to the way he does things. And the reason we're doing this show is I've seen Tommy's betting sheets through the years, very, very effective style. And it's a lot of parlays, but you got to know how to build a parlay correctly. It takes a lot of studious stuff, you know. And so you know, when we give a pick, obviously sometimes it's a pick that's heavily favored, and you're like, oh, you'll probably look at what's the value in that. The value is understanding how to build a parlay. You know, we feel like there's certain things we discuss and, you know, things we like, especially things Tommy likes. And then of course, you know, building of the parlay, that's an art form in and of itself. And that's sort of down to the responsible gambler, I guess, you know, right?
Science to it. Of course, there's a science to it. And when I talk about these parlays on the show, understand, I'm not just building one parlay. I'm building several different parlays. So to build just, let's use $100 as an example. If you're going to use a $100 parlay across, let's say 3 or 4 fights. Yeah, you can do that, sure. But I'd rather spread my money. I'd rather take that same $100 and put it in a few different directions where I'm not invested in everything. Where should there be an upset? Let's just say, and we've seen it happen with, what was the guy from Philadelphia last month? That was a minus 2,500. He got knocked out in the night.
Yeah. That was, forgot. That was a huge. It got caught with a punch.
Minus 2,500. Now you use him as just an add-in in all of your parlays, and
Dylan Price.
And you're more focused on the Barrios-Pacquiao fight or the Usyk Dubois fight. That's your main focus. You're just throwing that in to lower the odds. All of a sudden, that upset happens. All your parlays are gone. All your money's gone. That's it. So, I mean, you got to do things creatively smart. Be creative, be smart, and also spread it across the board. Don't use that same pick over and over and over again. So I try and give the best advice to win money. Not to necessarily, I'm not going to tell you necessarily who the winner is going to be. I'm going to tell you the best option that you have to make money on.
Well, it's not gambling or investing advice, but you know, you give your thoughts on, you know, the what has worked for you essentially. You know, there's the conversations people are privy to our private conversations here. That's why we made the show. We're allowing people to be privy to our private conversations about, you know, the weekend's gambling options. You know, boxing wise, of course, because that's what we do, and we're in boxing.
So do I favor Austin Williams? Yeah, absolutely. Of course I favor him, but not by a large margin. I'm more content with that. I'm more comfortable in my pick of that fight going the distance than I am that Austin Williams is going to be the victor in that fight.
What are the odds of it going distance? Is it heavy?
What's that?
Is it heavy going to distance heavy minus money?
You know what? I want to say it's in the minus 200 to 220 ballpark. So it's not long odds.
Yeah, and Oliha is not a big puncher. 9 knockouts, 21 wins. Yeah. Williams boxes, prefers to beat on the back foot, right? Boxes a little bit. So you know,
this is aggressive. This guy is aggressive. He's going to come for him. So Williams is going to be forced to box and move and counter a little bit more. But again, this guy's defensive responsible. He's athletic. He's got that herky-jerky style. He's unorthodox. So I think this is going to be a very interesting fight. I think it's going to be a chess match. I think there are going to be a lot of give and take rounds. They're going to be swing rounds. But I do see this fight going the 10-round distance. So I'll put a couple of different parlays in there where I'll use this fight to go the distance, which is the more safe bet in my mind. And then I'll use Austin Williams on the money line, which is I want to say maybe minus 130. I want to say pretty deep,
very tight.
Yeah,
very tight. All right, let's move on to the next one we're going to be discussing today. Diego Pacheco against Trevor McCumby. McCumby obviously impressed in the plane fight.
Yeah.
Been a pretty solid fridge contender, looking for that win to step him over that line into solid contendership, world-class level. He's competed here, has come up short against Plant, but he had dropped Plant, right? So, you know, obviously looking in hindsight, that dropping of Plant is probably less impressive because then Plant went and lost to Resendez right in the next fight. But nonetheless, Pacheco been on a tear. He's a guy who's been in the impressive prospect contender. What do you got over here? Because McCumby, for all his flaws, is very aggressive and does come to fight.
McCumby's a good fighter. He's definitely a good fighter. And the Plant fight was a fun fight. Plant had to make that adjustment and basically fight this guy right in his chest on the inside to take the fight over late and ultimately stop him. And it was the 8th of the 9th round. He stopped once, but there was a second knockdown that the referee called a slip. He really had Plant on the canvas twice. So he exposed Plant, and then he exposed Plant for
not having as much left as he used to essentially.
For the declining fighter that he is. So I think which was ultimately exposed in his following fight where he was a minus 2,500 favorite. Ended up. So McCumby's a good solid fighter. He's going to come to fight. He's got power in his own right. He's 28-1 with 20 knockouts, I want to say. But Pacheco, man, I've been high on Pacheco for a while. I've made a lot of money on Pacheco. Pacheco is at that point now where, along with guys like Mumbili, those basically are two big guys at 168 that are going to be challenging for the Alvarez Crawford winner.
I don't forget Lester Martinez, Tommy.
Yeah, Lester Martinez, of course. Lester Martinez.
Yep.
I think Pacheco.
And Shiraz, of course.
What's that? Oh, yeah, well, absolutely. No, Belanga, huh?
Yeah, well, so much for that.
The thing that troubles me a little bit with Pacheco is that you're talking about a 6'4" guy. Those are great dimensions to have, natural dimension. 6'4", he's got that long reach. He doesn't use it enough because he doesn't use the jab enough. And he's got a great jab. He's also a very good body puncher. And I've seen him score stoppages to the body with one shot, but he's a headhunter the whole fight. So I feel like Pacheco is 95% there. That 5% that's missing is what's going to control rounds, which is
well, you got tall Mexicans who don't use the jab and fight too much on the inside. I mean, it's not the first one. This won't be the last one, right? Mexican fighters tend to like that inside battle.
Yeah, Pacheco can make life a lot easier in these fights. I mean, listen, he's undefeated. He's scoring a lot of knockouts. He's doing his thing, but he's making these fights a little more difficult than he has to because he's not committing to that jab. Because when he uses it, he's got a beautiful jab. And at 6'4" with those kind of natural dimensions, he should have a beautiful jab and all that experience. But he's also a very good body puncher. So those are two things: the head hunting, because he doesn't go to the body a lot, and just not using the jab a lot. So he uses the counter right hand often. He puts combinations together, but he's just not busy enough. In some ways, he reminds me almost of like a Tim Tszyu in the sense that Tim Tszyu has a very good jab, but Tim Tszyu has to be reminded by his corner. Every round he goes back to the corner. They tell him to use the jab. He'll go out there, use it first minute of the round, and then he abandoned the next 2 minutes of the round. Those first 2 minutes, he's controlling the round with the jab, and he's putting his combinations together, and then he stops using it. And I've noticed the same trend with Pacheco. So that's the only thing that's troublesome with Pacheco.
That hurt you against McCumby, who throws fists of fury, so to speak. Yeah,
he throws a lot of punches. So, yeah, I definitely favor Pacheco. And listen, the guy's a minus 1,800. So you got to favor him. But he's gonna be tested those first 6 rounds. The thing with McCumby is, I believe this is a 12-round fight. He's never been in 12 rounds.
And he wears down a little bit, right? He punches himself out a little. He's a bit of a front runner.
Yeah. So I'm kind of leaning towards Pacheco for the stoppage, but not only for the stoppage, but for the late stoppage. Because McCumby's going to come hungry. He wants to impress. Obviously, he feels like one got away with him in the plant fight, that he was in a very winnable situation, that he came up short. Now he's got that experience, that confidence under his belt. So I do feel that he's going to take Pacheco rounds here and be competitive early, but I think ultimately Pacheco gets him in that second half of the fight.
So Pacheco 7-12.
Yeah, I see Pacheco by late stoppage.
Here, let me throw something out at you, Tommy. Is there a prop bet in the air here where Pacheco getting up off the canvas like Caleb planted to win? Nothing. You don't think McCumby's early aggression can score a knockdown?
Not in this fight. I don't.
Being hittable, no.
I think Pacheco, although you can touch Pacheco, I think his chin is shown to be very reliable this far.
Okay.
There are other fights that we're going to talk about over this show and tomorrow's show where I actually do see. Actually, later on today, we'll talk about the Usyk fight because I think it's a possible prop bet. But as far as Pacheco touching the canvas, I don't see that as a very realistic possibility. He's got a good chin, and it's tough to hit him with combinations. If you get him with one, usually he's going to fire back and stop your fire immediately, or he's going to smother you. He's going to wrap you up. He's going to use his intelligence. He knows to prevent him away from his opponent. I think Pacheco is solid up and down. I just want to see that complete package. That's the difference between him being a potential world champion in 2 or 3 weight classes, or him just maybe grabbing one belt at his current weight class. Because at 6'4", he can go high in weight.
Yeah.
Titles, but he
has some Zurdo characteristics, right? Zurdo was at one time at 168 at that height, right? So,
but he's not going to do that without using that jab. And he's got a beautiful jab. He just doesn't use it. It drives me crazy. But ultimately, I do see Pacheco wearing McCumby down and scoring that late stoppage.
All right. And we got Bam Rodriguez. He's got a heavy favorite, but Kafu is tough, bro. What do you think?
These odds are stupid. As high as minus 2,400. This guy is, first of all, this is unification. This guy's got a WBO world title that he won in his last fight. The guy comes to fight, Paulie. He throws with you. He throws with bad intentions. He's extremely aggressive. He's not.
I think it's a little bit of a banana peel fight here for Rodriguez. People are so high on Bam that it's almost like they just view now every fight as he'll blow guys away. Having said that, Tommy, you've thought Bam was in tough other times, and then he's come through with flying colors. So what does he do it again here? What do you think?
I was convinced when he fought Estrada that was going to be a tough 12-round fight, and all of a sudden he lands that left to the liver, and that fight is over. And Estrada had
didn't he stop the Thai guy too?
Yeah,
right.
That
guy had been durable as well.
Yeah, so Bam tends to step it up, but here's the thing, Paulie. he's coming off 3 fantastic performances in a row. Actually, 2 of them I was at. I was at the Sonny Edwards fight in Arizona, where he just dismantled Sonny Edwards. And his last fight in Philadelphia, who's the opponent, escapes me. The following fight was against Estrada. And then his last fight was in Philadelphia on the Boots Ennis undercard. And he blitzed this guy in, I believe, 3 rounds. So he's coming off 3 impressive knockouts in a row. But here's the thing, Paul. He's already got his next fight scheduled. So I don't like to see that. He's fighting the Argentine Martinez.
Okay. Oh, so Cesar Martinez? Or no, that's a Mexican. No, that's a Mexican.
That's a blast from the past right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up while we're talking. Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
But the thing with that is now you go into a fight and you're more worried about, or it's a concern at least, you're worried about headbutts, you're worried about your next fight, you're worried about getting unscathed, not getting cut, not getting injured, because you have a big Saudi fight coming up in a few months.
Yeah.
So this guy Kafu could fight. I mean, this guy is going to bring it. This guy has a lot of power. He's 11-0 with 3 draws. Those draws came early in his career. You look over his resume, this guy was already fighting 12 rounders in his 4th pro fight.
Yeah. But the guys move faster in those small weight classes because there's less of a talent pool, so you can move faster.
Let me pull up Bam's next fight, and I'll tell you exactly. You're gonna know who he is, and I'll tell you why I'm worried about him. But in this particular fight, I mean, listen, you're always gonna favor Bam Rodriguez. I'm just saying the odds are long, and Bam is actually due for a little bit of a letdown performance. A letdown performance doesn't mean that you're gonna lose. A letdown performance means you might not perform.
You're overlooking
to the level.
When you schedule 2 fights in a row, maybe you're overlooking, right?
Yes, correct.
At least his team is overlooking for sure. Maybe Bam doesn't, but his team overlooks a little bit for sure. You try to serve a little bit for the following fight because that's the more important one. You can maybe pull back a little bit, save some energy, and all of a sudden you wind up not looking as
Daniel Martinez. So that would be on November 25th. And Martinez is 8-0 with 9 knockouts, and Martinez is coming off those 2 wins in Japan over Oliha.
Okay. All right. What do you see? Does it go to points? Is that what I'm reading here? Distance fight?
You know, stylistically, the way they fight, I mean, it is a tough one, boy. It really is a tough one. The distance has absolutely crossed my mind because Bam's going to have to be careful with the
cut. So an aggressive opponent.
I'm leaning towards the distance. Yes, I'm not going to bet heavy on this one. I think Bam wins the fight because it's Bam Rodriguez. The guy's a pound for pound.
You might spare yourself some parlays without this one.
Yeah. I'll use him in a couple. I'll use him for the fight to go the distance, and maybe I'll use him on the money line. But again, I'm hoping those odds drop between now and Saturday because.
And obviously, when we say money line here, you know, you're talking about in a parlay because money line on its own has no value.
No, you're not going to win. Not in this fight. In the Usyk fight, it does. In this fight, it does not. But Bam's in tough, man. I don't know where they pulled these odds out of, but he's in there with a hungry, strong, capable opponent who's going to come to fight and test him. And again, Paulie, like I said, I take those intangibles into account here. He's coming off 3 fantastic performances in a row. Could he be overlooking this guy to the Martinez fight? Could his team be overlooking this guy a little bit? This guy's an unknown commodity who's never fought outside of Africa or South Africa.
South Africa.
Yeah, South Africa. So I don't know, man. I
remember a long time ago there was a South African that upset Michael Carbajal. I don't know where. Baby Jake Matlala. You know?
I remember him. Yeah.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah. So they can surprise you.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Bam going the distance, but you know what? The couple of times that I do bet Bam to go the distance,
he's at the stoppage because he
thought
supersedes your expectations every time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's why this one might be one where you don't use it in so many parlays, or you maybe use it sparingly and whatnot. It's understandable, and because Bam is so good, we feel like we haven't reached his ceiling yet. It's kind of incredible to watch him every time.
Yeah, 25 years old. I mean, I actually think that from an overall standpoint, from top to bottom, I think he might be the most technically sound and diverse fighter in the sport.
Yeah.
You watch that knockout. If you actually watch that knockout in slow motion where the right hand comes at him, he rolls it, he shoots the left to the liver, it misses the first time, Paulie. He takes that, pivots, shoots it again, it lands, fight over.
The presence of mind to think that fast and adjust the position, that's amazing.
And that's against a guy in Estrada who's never been stopped.
Yeah, and has been world class, yep. And with bona fide star himself in the lower weight classes. Yeah.
So Bam's a student of the game. He's just continuing to improve. So of course I expect Bam to win. And be in shape and come hungry, but he might be in with a guy that's going to have to make him watch out. Like I said, watch out. You don't want to get cut. You don't want to get headbutted. You don't want to happen when you have another fight. Right?
Is Kafu that kind of aggressive where the headbutt could happen?
Yeah, this guy's very aggressive. So I think Bam's going to be on his back foot a little bit in this one, have to box a little bit more.
Mhm.
Uh,
And that's where you got to be careful with the betting the distance, right? The technical decision, it does not count as a distance by the odds makers. They screw you on that one. You don't get a credit for a stoppage. You don't get a credit for a decision, right? You just it's a loss.
that is sometimes it does help you because there have been times where I'll bet somebody for the decision win, and now I get that decision win after 7 rounds instead of 12 because
Okay, but technical decision. So
yeah.
you do get a decision win on a technical decision.
Yes, but if you're betting just the distance, now that fight didn't go the distance.
That's what it is. Okay, okay. Even though technically it's a decision, it doesn't go the distance, so to speak. Yeah. Okay, so they won't give you credit for that. But if you would take somebody by decision, a technical decision is still a decision. I got you. Okay, good to know. Good to know because these are random things that can sometimes come up as a surprise in the sports book when people are going at it, uh, throwing these things in. Okay, dude. Usyk and Dubois, last one we'll discuss on this show. Usyk and Dubois, a rematch of a controversial fight, and Dubois is on a tear since.
absolute tear. I mean, you're talking about a guy coming off 3 huge knockout wins in a row.
And where he was the underdog in all 3 fights. This guy goes into fights. This is going to be the 4th fight in a row where he goes in as the underdog. He's won the previous 3.
Yeah, and he's done so where, and I think
Actually, before these 3 fights, he fought Usyk, where he was also the underdog.
yeah.
So this is the 5th fight in a row where he goes in as the underdog, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. And you're talking about
that's a monumental run here.
And the wild part is he's the second best heavyweight in the world. This is 1 against 2 here, Paulie.
Yeah.
You're talking about an underdog 5 fights in a row, yet he's the second best heavyweight in the world because Joshua has already been eliminated, and so is Tyson Fury.
Isn't that incredible, dude? In a sport where it's so difficult to get a 1 versus 2 matchup, Usyk constantly goes for it. He constantly fights. He'll constantly fight his next best opponent. Incredible. Just an old school feel, but he's an old school guy, right?
But here's the thing, Paul. When is enough enough? He's already beaten Dubois. He beat Fury twice. He beat Joshua twice. Undisputed at cruiserweight. Undisputed.
Oh, you know how it is, man. Sometimes you should get up off the table, but you don't get up in time off the table, and they take your money. You know that can happen.
This is dangerous. This is a dangerous fight for Usyk. It really is. I mean, what does he gain, Paul? The risk reward factor. What does he gain here?
By way getting the win. I totally agree with you. And this makes me think of some analogies here or some examples, right? What does he gain factor? Lennox Lewis against Vitaly Klitschko. Lennox said, what did he gain fighting him again? And he retires. And looking back now, Lennox his place and his legacy is ultimate, right? Roy Jones, Tarver, also he gets a decision over Tarver. What does he gain in getting the rematch? He, on the other hand, takes the rematch and goes down a spiral where, I personally don't think Roy's legacy is hurt because I think Roy was awesome, but there's people who counted against him because he wound up on a tumultuous downhill run after that where he just kept getting beat. So yeah, that's the risk Usyk is playing with here. And that's a great example. What you gain out of beating Dubois, who you've already beaten, though controversially. And if you leave with a win, we leave with an undefeated record, Olympic gold medal, former undisputed heavyweight champion, and the whole 9. And you gain everything. If you lose,
you're fighting a much more dangerous, accomplished Dubois than you were the first time around.
More in his prime, because Dubois is 26, right? So he's in exact prime.
Yeah,
the win is incredible, of course, if you get it. But the thing is, as much as it's incredible, it won't be counted as special because Dubois has not been able to create his own legacy. If you beat him twice, he will not create that legacy, right? So that's it's a win that you won't even get credit for if you beat him again. But if you lose, especially the way Dubois has been devastating people.
Yes and no, Paulie, because this could be Usyk's last fight. Let's say it is his last fight.
Yeah.
He's still kind of beating next gen on his way out the door, similar to the way Lennox Lewis did so with Klitschko. Klitschko obviously created his own legacy as an all-time great.
But he already beat him. It's the thing.
Yeah, no, I get it. But but he didn't opt for the rematch. He left that money on the table.
Yeah.
But time now, Usyk is opting for this rematch. Usyk, listen, Paulie, he's 38 years old now. 38 years old. Dubois 26. Usyk's got a lot of mileage. He had a ton of amateur fights.
Yeah.
He had 4 hard fights, 4 hard training camps for those back-to-back fights with Tyson Fury, with Joshua. So these are things to consider. But then the other thing to consider is this is still Alexander Usyk. This guy is a generational talent. I think he's similar.
All-time great.
His career mirrors almost Andre Ward in the sense that, Olympic gold, undefeated as a pro, never lost a fight, hasn't lost a fight since he was a teenager. He wins at every level. He's just a winner.
He got beat in the 08 Olympics. I don't know if that was the last loss he had, but in 12, in the gold medal.
So he got beat prior to.
He won 12 Olympics, but he lost in the '08 Olympics. He was in 2 Olympics like Lomachenko was.
Yeah, but and you said Lomachenko, and what Usyk always reminded me of to a degree is the heavyweight version of Lomachenko. The
Yeah.
style, the angles, the diverse punch combination, the creative punch combinations, and then ability, the strength. Listen, real deal. You can't pick. It's impossible to pick against Usyk after I've done so multiple times myself. We were talking about underdogs with Dubois being an underdog now 5 fights in a row. Hey, Usyk was an underdog for the first fight with Joshua and for the first fight with Tyson Fury, and he proved us wrong. I didn't see him beating Tyson Fury, and he beat him, and he beat him handily the second time and retired. If this is the same Usyk and he hasn't lost a step, which at 38 years old is always a concern, I think I think he beats Dubois. Also, here's something to keep in mind, Paul. Dubois still hasn't been the 12-round distance. Is that wild?
Yeah.
He hasn't been the 10-round distance. He's had 2 fights that went to the 10th.
When did Joyce stop him?
Joyce stopped him in the 10th round.
In the 10th round.
He stopped Miller in the 10th round. He's only entered a 10th round on 2 occasions. Both times they ended in knockout. One in his favor, one against him. But he's never seen an 11th round, probably much less a 12th round.
So could that mean he's going to fade down the stretch? Because he has a knockout win over Jarrell Miller and late, he keeps his power late.
Correct. But that was Jarrell Miller also that took the fight on.
Who also fades. But Jarrell also kind of fades, right?
Oh, it is. Thing with Usyk is that Usyk just zaps you of your stamina. This guy's constant perpetual motion. He tires guys down. He wears guys down. Mentally.
Okay, let me throw a caveat here. Because can Usyk do that rhythm at 38 years old?
That's when will he? When is we can grow old overnight? When is he old? When is tomorrow going to happen?
That's why this fight is tricky.
That's something. It's going to happen in one of these fights. This is one of those dangerous fights where he's in with a.
He's not getting up off the table.
Yeah.
The house always wins eventually.
What's that?
The house always wins eventually.
Yeah. You got to favor Usyk, of course. You got to favor Usyk, but Dubois is very live here, so I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here. Usyk, who does not score a lot of stoppages, who only has 1 stoppage at heavyweight. But Tim Witherspoon, when he first moved up to heavyweight, he stopped him, I think, in the 7th round.
Chad's Witherspoon. Tim was the uncle.
And then he stopped Dubois. He had stoppage since Dubois, and prior to that stoppage, he was like 3 years. I think any which way this fight goes, Paulie, it does not go 12 rounds. I think a stoppage happens.
Really?
Yeah.
So you like the fight not to go to distance?
Correct. You're not beating Usyk on a decision. I just don't see it happening. You're not going to beat Usyk on a decision. So if Dubois is going to win, he's going to live by the sword. He's going to die by the sword. He's going to score an.
So are you edging towards a stoppage for Dubois, or you just think both guys can stop each other?
I think that this possibility is there for both guys. I mean, I think that Usyk's also.
Usyk could just wear down Dubois because Dubois, when he's tested in that way mentally, maybe he doesn't come up with it.
Dubois is very dangerous those first 5 rounds, extremely, and that Usyk is going to start to take that fight over. And as the late rounds, as the fight progresses in those late rounds, I think Usyk is going to slowly but surely break this guy down. And I think that Dubois is not going to pack it in, but he's going to get desperate, and that gas tank is going to deplete from desperation, big home run shots, and ultimately that Usyk is going to wear him down over the second half of the fight.
Okay.
But the possibility is there that Dubois can win something. If Usyk is just a little bit slower, if punch resistance has slipped just a little bit, if he's not in quite the shape that he's been in the past, all these little things they add on, Paul, at 38 years old. They do. Between a shot sailing past your chin and connecting with your chin and putting you out.
Yeah. Oh man, that's okay. That we have more discussions for tomorrow's show for the other fights, as this is a packed weekend. But this is some food for thought for the possibility of building some parlays. We got to think things over.
You brought it up at the beginning of the show. You mentioned a prop bet of a knockdown. That wouldn't be a bad idea for bettors out there. Maybe Usyk has to get off the canvas in this one to get a victory.
Is Dubois going to get the credit for the knockdown?
Well, what is your official opinion on that first fight?
I don't think it was a knockdown. But even if you think it is, I think the wet ring had more to do with it than anything else. Usyk's foot positioning is a little bit off. Usyk is a footwork guy, and a wet ring really counts against you. Trust me, I've trained the wet rings. I was a footwork guy, the most frustrating thing in the world. So imagine having a wet ring on fight night. That was I thought that was a very poor of the preparation for the promotion of that fight. The rain, not having the ring covered like that, or not covered properly.
Said 2 things about that knockdown over and over again. One, the body language, the way Usyk reacted and went down was the reaction of a low blow. I mean, the way he folded and went down wasn't the reaction of a body blow. It was a reaction of a low.
It wasn't that delayed reaction, body shot. It was a low blow, instant reaction.
But what everybody fails to realize is the referee called it a low blow. Usyk doesn't have to get up within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
The referee started.
You're gonna take your time when you know you have the time.
Yeah. So does that mean Dubois would have knocked him out? Usyk probably gets up from that regardless. He's not going to stay on the canvas.
And he got up anyway. Well, if he got extra time, but he got up and dominated the fight afterwards.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to maybe put a prop bet in. I don't know what those odds are. I have not looked into them, but it was.
Oh, prop bets like that are always plus money anyway. So even on right,
my knowledge, Usyk's never hit the canvas, right?
pizza and beer money, right? Usyk, I don't think it's hit the canvas. No, not officially.
So you got to think that's plus money. You got
hit the canvas in the amateurs. Better be have dropped him with a body shot.
Yes.
Yeah, but not in the pro. All right.
So it would be the worst idea to throw a prop bet out there that maybe Usyk takes the canvas for the first time.
Yeah, again, a lot of things to think about, man. We'll build a parlay and we'll figure it out, man. That's for sure. All right, man. You know, we do not think that this is the only episode of Tommy and Paulie's big fight forecast for this week. We got so much boxing going on this week that we're gonna give you another episode with the rest of the schedule and the betting and gambling discussions on those fights. Remember, everything discussed on Paulie and Tommy's big fight forecast is not gambling or betting advice or investing advice. It is just for entertainment purposes, but we like to let you guys be privy to our conversations and our thoughts on these possible parlay building, right?
I also like to invest myself, so for me, it might be a little bit of investing.
Yeah, but that's you. People are privy to our conversations. That's all. You know. Anyway, guys, we'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been Tommy and Paulie's big fight forecast.